Hey everybody, Justin here for another deck tech and much longer adventure than our last one. We're going to be doing a Jim Culver Blood Pact deck. So if you don't know what Blood Pact is, because I forget it off the top of my head right now, Blood Pact is a permanent that as a quick action you can add 1 Doom to the Blood Pact to get +3 Brain, limit once per test, or +3 Fist. So we're going in on an all-in Doom deck, which I'm really excited about. I'm building with the entire set of cards that I own, which is the entire Dunwich Legacy and the core set. But my hope is to build a fun deck that I would never normally build and see how it does solo. I also like the flavor of Jim Culver becoming a spell-slinging badass fighting Yogg-Sothoth, so that's kind of the theme I'm going with. So why don't we not waste any more time and get to this deck tech. So Jim Culver has his 2 cards, the Trumpet and the Final Rhapsody. The Final Rhapsody has my favorite art in this game, by the way. You also get 1 basic weakness. Mine is Chronophobia, the fear of time. Time is going to run out, and Jim Culver knows it. So Jim Culver is built a little bit differently. He has Mystic cards level 0 to 5, Neutral cards 0 to 5, and up to 5 level 0 cards from any other class. I'm going to start with my Mystic cards because this is where the core of our deck is. So I have 2 allies. Of note, some of these cards are going to be a bit weird being in my deck right now, but I figured I want to put them in at the time being for not having to spend experience for them later, and I'll explain those cards as they come up. My first ally, I have 2 copies of Alyssa Graham. She gives me +1 book, and I can exhaust her to look at the top card of either the encounter deck or any player deck. I may then add 1 Doom to place the look deck card at the bottom of the deck. This is going to be a strategy I'm going to be using quite often to figure out how I'm going to approach a turn, and I'm very excited. I'm hoping, I have 2 copies of her, so I'm hoping I'm going to be getting her early on because I feel like that would be pretty good. I have 1 copy of Arcane Initiate. Not too happy about this one, but I like what it can do, which Doom, this goes with the theme. I put part of her in there was just to do the Doom theme, but also just the ability to search for spells, which I'm hoping to become a big theme of this deck later on. Now, let's get to our spells. I have 1 copy of Shriveling, 1 copy of Scrying, 1 copy of Rite of Seeking. So our spells are a little bit soft right now. Part of this is because of the core set, and I didn't feel the necessity to have 2 Rites of Seeking. It's a very expensive card. But once I can level up my spells and get experience, spells are going to be one of the things that I'm going to focus on a lot for this deck. So right now these are just here to, Shriveling is to make my attack good, Rite of Seeking is to make my investigate good. My 2 assets that I have are 2 Ritual Candles. Just a good card, I think, that isn't a bad thing to have, especially when they basically just give you a +1 to any skill test. I have 1 copy of, in my opinion, the best purple card, which is Ward of Protection. You know, it cancels a treachery card. So if I see something, I'm like, no thank you, that's really hard and I don't want to deal with that. It's not direct horror, so I can put it on one of my cronies instead of taking it myself if I'm ever in a pickle and I really need to cancel it and not die in the process. We have 1 copy of Drawn to the Flame, which draw the top card of the encounter deck, then discover 2 clues at your location with Alyssa Graham and even Scrying. This is very good because I can see what's coming and see if I'm able to handle it at the time, and then get the 2 clues if I need it. Also with single player, I feel like this card is going to be okay because I won't put anyone else in trouble by doing that. I can just do that myself, have it happen, and hopefully be able to deal with it when it comes up, and not, for example, put someone else in a pickle when a monster suddenly engages them. We have 1 copy of Hypnotic Gaze, which is kind of like a dodge, a more expensive dodge. Optimally, you would love for this thing to hit the enemy and kill it, but I don't think that is something that you can really assume is going to happen, and I'm really just using it as a way to avoid an attack if needed. On the same line, Blinding Light. I'm using that because my foot is my weakest skill, and I need a way to deal with escaping from an enemy if it ever comes up. Now we get 2 fun cards. The first one is 2 copies of Delve Too Deep. In my opinion, this is the card to put into your starting purple decks. You play it in the first few games, like the first game or 2, and then these are the cards that you'll replace first, because you won't want them later on, but in the early way, it's a good way to get experience, to change the card, and basically it's a card that gives you experience to replace itself later on, and the effects aren't that negative, especially if you're using someone like Alyssa Graham, whose name I'm still saying right, to see what's coming. And they can be like, oh, this is soft. Here, now I'm going to just gain some experience to encounter this thing. And finally, for my Mystic cards, 2 copies of Moonlight Ritual. These don't do much right now for my deck. They put in book or foot as a skill test, but they don't do much else. I mean, I can use them if I want to get rid of a card early before the Doom flip happens. But mostly they're here so I don't have to spend 1 experience later to put them into my deck. Now we got our 5 level 0 cards from any other class. So, 1 copy of Machete, a good weapon that cuts through most things. A Fire Axe, 1 copy of it. A good weapon that if I don't draw my Machete, I basically now have 2 weapons that I want to be able to draw. We have 1 copy of Dig Deep. In my opinion, this is very beneficial. If you saw my Roland Banks videos, I like these cards because I usually accrue resources and then use them to complete tests that are out of my reach in the future, especially for that foot. That might be something that I need to do. 1 copy of Lucky, a very good card that if you're going to fail, you don't, and that's great. And finally, for the last of my other class cards, 1 copy of Lone Wolf. That card seems good in a single-player game, so I'm putting it in my deck, and I don't know why I wouldn't. It seems strong. It basically just gives me a free resource action every turn. Okay, for my neutrals, 2 copies of Emergency Cache, 2 copies of Unexpected Courage, the essentials, in my opinion, to any deck. Overpower, 2 copies. Perception, 2 copies. These are just to make sure the most important things I'm going to be doing are fighting enemies and investigating for clues. So these make sure I can do those consistently. Last but not least, I have 1 copy of Manual Dexterity to round out my deck. This is here to, if I ever really need to use the foot test, I can use it and not die in the process. That is my deck, the starting one. We're going to be doing the House Always Wins in this video, and then we're going to be doing a extracurricular activity. So we're going to see how this goes, we're going to see how much experience we get, and we're going to start doing the Blood Pact. I don't know, I think I might jump into the Blood Pact right away. I only need 1 copy of it because it's permanent. So we're going to dive in. The House Always Wins is going to be after this, and then extracurricular activity will be the next video. So enjoy. Hello everybody, we're doing the House Always Wins, not on hard and expert, on easy and standard. Standard is the difficulty I chose. The Clover Club. You've entered the Clover Club Casino in search of Dr. Morgan. The club is bustling at this late hour, filled with patrons looking to relax and drink or make it big. You don't appear to be in much danger. Each criminal enemy gains aloof. If an investigator deals damage to a criminal enemy, immediately advance for Doom. I don't plan on advancing that like that. Beginner's luck. You need to find Dr. Morgan. The club is packed. Perhaps somebody knows where he is. So, as a reaction, when I reveal a Chaos token, I might treat it as if it was any other Chaos token in the Chaos bag. If I do, remember that I cheated. Objective. When the investigators have collected 4 clues, they must immediately spend them and advance. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. So we're dealing with Unexpected Courage, Overpower, Final Rhapsody, which is going to disappear. We have an Emergency Cache and a Shriveling. So I think I'm going to keep Shriveling and this Emergency Cache. Oh, we see we'll replace Final Rhapsody first. We have an Arcane Initiate. Okay, so I think I'm going to get rid of this Overpower and then draw a new card to replace it, and that is Alyssa Graham. Okay, this is good. I'm happy with this opening hand. I have my Alyssa Graham, which I think is going to be very pivotal to what I want to be doing. And I have a very important card for what's going to be happening later on in this adventure, which you'll probably pick up on right away. So I'm on La Bella Luna. I can resign. It has a Shroud of 2 and 1 clue on it. So why don't we start right off the bat? We're going to play Alyssa Graham for action number 1. That's going to cost me 4 of my 5 resources. Action number 2 is we're going to investigate here. We're doing 4 to 2. -1, that's enough to grab this clue, putting me up to 1 clue. So my hope is that this pit boss is going to be prowling around, making sure no one's cheating. So I'm going to stay here this turn and just use my last action for these for this emergency cache, with the hopes of him walking out here to see if I'm okay, and then me going in and starting to do some gambling, if you will. And a turn, we're going to gain a resource and draw a card. The card we drew was Dig Deep. I saw that already. I'm also happy to get this because if I ever need to use my feet, I always forget the enemy step. This guy moved closer to me, for he is Hunter and I have the highest book. He is aloof, so I will not engage him right now, though. We'll place 1 Doom on the agenda of death. She is also unexhausted. Draw a bad card of death. It is the Swarm of Rats. Action number 1, we're going to fight these rats. We're going to go 3 to 1. That's a 0. That's going to kill these rats, which is good. It gives us that we can actually, you know, advance the objective. And how we're going to do that is we're going to first move into the Clover Club Lounge. While it is Act 1, Clover Club Lounge gains discard an ally asset from your hand, gain 2 clues from the token pool, limit once per game. So then action number 3 is going to be exactly that. I'm going to discard the Arcane Initiate from my hand and gain 2 clues. So I basically just sold out my Arcane Initiate for information. Classic evil me. We're going to use Alyssa Graham to also see what's coming our way. It's an O'Banion's Thug. He is going to be not a problem because he has aloof. He's going to be a problem eventually, but right now he doesn't. He doesn't even have Hunter, so that's okay. Okay. In turn, this guy's going to move over here. He still has aloof, so he's not a problem. I'm going to draw a card and gain a resource. I only need 1 more clue to advance. The card I drew was a Fire Axe. I actually enjoy that because now with Fire Axe and Shriveling, I can really do some damage to anything that might show up. Alright, that card we drew was the O'Banion's Thug, so he spawns here and he also has aloof. Alright, so my first action, because it's a whole new turn, and then we're going to go to Clover Club Card Room. So this guy's going to come and attack me this turn. So we got to get ready. So we just got to... Actually, we're not going to come to the Clover Club card room. And instead, we're going to go to the bar. I can spend 2 resources to gain 2 clues and remember that I had a drink. Okay, action number 2 is we're going to play a Shriveling for 3 resources. And action number 3 is going to be dropping down this Fire Axe. So that puts us down to 2 resources. Alright, it's the enemy phase. I'm going to use Alyssa Graham again to look at the top card. We are ourselves a Cursed Luck. So that's kind of a problem, but hopefully we can get through that super quick. Okay, so enemy phase. This guy's going to move into here, which is exactly what we wanted. Because our goal next turn is to go into Clover Card Room, then move out of there. And I think we're just going to let this O'Banion's Thug just sit in here and have a party at the lounge and just drink as much as he wants to fucking drink. So, the card I drew was an Overpower. That's good for we know what's coming up right away. Evil Card of Death, boom. And here's that Cursed Luck I told you guys all about. So let's add that to our threat area. So that gives me a -1 to all my skills, which is kind of annoying, but we can get rid of this eventually, right? That's the hope anyway. Okay. Action number 1 is going to be move into Clover Club Card Room, reveal it. While it is Act 1, it gains spend 2 resources. Reveal a Chaos token, a random Chaos token, if it has a good symbol or an even number, gain 2 clues or 2 resources if it's the star. If it's an odd or an evil symbol, nothing happens. So that's what we're going to do for action number 2. We're going to try to beat this thing. This is also at 3 Doom. You can do this, Justin. -1 is an odd number, so nothing happens. Okay, well, that's life, I suppose. We'll draw a card for our last action. It was a Chronophobia. Man, everything's gone from bad to worse, huh? What a nightmare. What an absolute nightmare. Okay, Chronophobia. So we're going to take 1 direct horror at the end of our turn, putting us down to 7 out of our potential 8. And we will then have this enemy move into here. Things are not coming up Millhouse. This has 4 charges on it. End of turn, we're going to gain a resource and draw a card. I'm also actually going to use her ability to look at the top card. It's another Cursed Luck. I'm going to place 1 Doom on her to put her up to 4. Put me up to 4 Doom. To drop this guy to the bottom because I really don't want 2 Cursed Lucks. That seems bad. Okay, and the card we draw is a Ritual Candles. That can be beneficial. Cool. All right. This advances to the next agenda. So let's get that ready. Your questioning has drawn the attention of several men, hired thugs by the look of them. Francis don't want to be bothered, one of them says. We suggest you leave the premises before we force you to leave. Shuffle the encounter pile into the discard deck. Alright, so I guess that my ability was all for naught. We're back down to 0 doom as well. The players who completed extracurricular advance directly to Agenda 2B. Otherwise, advance directly to Agenda 2A. Underground Muscle. Oh, we're in a bit of a pickle, aren't we? We're in a bit of a pickle. Most of the other patrons seem oblivious to the mobsters and goons closing in around you, but you recognize this for what it really is. You're about to get roughed up. So, the Clover Club Pit Boss has now engaged with us. And we are in a pickle. This guy no longer has aloof. So, we still need one more clue, huh? When in Rome, we shoot someone with lightning blast. We're going to shrivel this guy. So, we have 3 to 3. I'm going to spend this unexpected courage to go 5 to 3. -1 is enough to deal 2 damage to him. On the plus side as well, this Cursed Luck is also discarded. So we're going to shoot him again. And this time we're doing 4 to 3. All right. That's a 0. That's enough to kill this guy and add him to the victory display. My last action is going to be spending 2 resources in an attempt to get that symbol, which is actually the luckiest thing in the world, because we're going to gain 2 resources and 2 clues. So, I must immediately advance this. I'm also just going to check to see if all my clues disappear. So, give me 1 moment, please. So I'll spend 4 of my clues, leaving me with just 1. And we'll flip this over. After speaking to a number of gamblers and servers, it seems as though Dr. Morgan has quite the run lately. Instead of cashing out his winnings, he was convinced to double down. He was last seen entering the guarded hall near the back room of the card room. Put the set-aside darkened hall. Spooky into play. If it is Agenda 1, discard cards from the top of the deck. If it is Agenda 1, it is no longer Agenda 1. Discard cards from the top of the encounter deck until a criminal enemy is discarded and spawn that enemy on the darkened hall. So now, Dr. Morgan is somewhere in the private section of the club where only VIPs and the club managers are allowed. If you're going to find him, you're going to have to sneak or even fight your way in. Only investigators in the VIP area may spend the requisite number of clues as a group to advance. My turn ends. I'm going to take 1 more direct horror from this stupid, scary time thing. This enemy doesn't have Hunter, so I will just gain a resource, putting me up to 3, and I will draw a card. And that card is Scrying. We're going to go 1 Doom on this, and draw a card of death. It's an O'Banion's Thug. He's engaged with me. I cannot gain resources. Okay. For my first action, I'm going to shrivel this guy. I'm going to commit this Dig Deep. And then actually probably even these Ritual Candles to go 6 to 4. I really want this guy dead. That's a 0. So that will kill him. Spend 1 of those off of that. And this guy will die, which is nice. I didn't even put him in my threat area because I'm bad at this. All right, my last actions are going to be to get rid of this Chronophobia. End of turn, we're going to gain a resource, putting us up to 4, and we're going to draw a card, which is good because we're running a bit low. It's a Perception. That's going to help us with this Cursed Luck we're about to get. Add 1 Doom to the agenda, and draw a card. Oh, look, it's Cursed Luck. Boom! All right. So we need to go through this guy, huh? Oh, no, we don't. We're in the perfect room. So action number 1, we're going to move into the darkened hall. Oh, When Darkened Hall is revealed, put into play 3 set-aside back hall doorway locations. Cool. We can do that. Sure, action 2. Let's go into this one. Oh, back alley. Resign. We can't get out. We can get out this way. That's going to have 1 clue on it. And then for action number 3 is we're going to do that. We're going to go 3 to 1 because I have my Cursed Luck. So 3 to 1. Ooh, -3. If you succeed, gain 3 resources. We do not succeed, so we just stay cursed. Cool. Gain a resource, and because this guy doesn't move, and draw a card. The card we drew was Ward of Protection. Put a Doom on this. That's going to cause this to actually, we're going to be smart. We're going to use our Alyssa to look at the top card. It's a swarm of rats, which is like totally okay. I mean, it's going to get shuffled here, so I'm not even going to spend that Doom. This advances, and we got this. You hear a crash from somewhere outside, and screams of pain in the lounge. A terrible monstrosity smashes through the entrance of the club, crushing the stairwell and knocking over gangsters and patrons alike. Spawn a random set-aside hideous abominations enemy. Encounter set in the Clover Club lounge. Shuffle the rest of the encounter deck and the set-aside of that encounter set, striking fear in the encounter discard pile into the encounter deck. Move all investigators and unengaged enemies from La Bella Luna to the Clover Club lounge and remove it from the game. So we got a conglomeration of spheres. At the start of the enemy phase, discard each criminal enemy in the same location as an abomination. Now this guy's going to eat my axe up. I have some time before he gets to me. But it's going to take us a lot of time to just cut through him, so I'll probably have to save what I have left of my shriveling for him and hope no other big enemies show up. Alright, my turn. We're going to investigate here again. 3 to 1. -1, that's going to give us that clue, putting us up to 2 clues, which is enough to advance when we need to. And more importantly, it gets rid of this Cursed Luck again, so everything is a-okay. Action number 2 is going to be move in here. Action number 3, let's keep exploring. We got the VIP area. While you're in the VIP area, you cannot draw cards or gain resources, and there's 1 clue. This is where we need to spend our clues. So I think I am going to advance it here. If the players have not completed extracurricular activity. I have not! You find Dr. Morgan gambling in one of the VIP rooms, but he appears to be playing cards with 2 unconscious bodies. His pupils dilated as though in a trance. He can't seem to stop laughing, smiling, and chatting with the other players. Put the set aside Dr. Morgan in play in the VIP area. So, with or without Dr. Morgan, you have to get out of here. While Dr. Morgan is not controlled by a player, he gains Parlay. Test Brain 3 to shake him out. If you succeed, place 1 clue from the token bank on him. If there's 1 clue per investigator on him, take control of him. So he's going to get rid of my Alyssa Graham. We're going to go like this to see what's coming for us. We got ourselves another conglomeration of spears. I think I am going to spend a Doom to move that to the bottom, because I really don't want that. Do not draw a card, do not gain a resource. This guy is starting to come to me, so he's going to lurch ever closer. The conglomeration of spheres is coming. Place another Doom on this, putting us up to 2, which is scary, I agree. Draw a card of death. It's a Dissonant Voices. We cannot play assets or events. That's a lot less scary than another conglomeration of spheres, so I'm already happy with Alyssa Graham. Alright, action number 1 is we're going to attempt to parlay. We have 4. We're going to do 4 to 3. Hope for the best. Actually, first things first, quick action. We're going to look at the top card. We have a Surge coming, so I won't know what's coming afterwards, but that's okay. Let's do this. Parlay, 4 to 3, hope for the best. 0, in my opinion, is the best. We're going to gain control of Dr. Francis Morgan. So that's going to remove Alyssa Graham, because I only have 1 ally spot. Action 2. Should have investigated first, but I didn't. We're going to use this perception to go 5 to 3. Should have investigated while I had Alyssa. I'm going to treat that as a 0 instead with my Jim Culver ability. So it's still a skull symbol, but I'm treating it as a 0 modifier. So I'll draw a card. We're drawing an overpower in its place. We will grab this clue though, and then we're going to move into here to get ready to fight that conglomeration of spheres. That's what's going to happen. This guy will move in and engage with me. The order is that he attacks if able. He will deal 1 damage to Dr. Francis Morgan because this guy was gambling and he's an asshole. I also get rid of this dissonant voices, and that's going to be replaced with this conglomeration of spheres. We're going to gain a resource and draw a card. We drew a blinding light. That card can be very good whenever we have to deal with this. I mean, we're not really here to. We're just going to cut this guy up. All right, Doom goes up to 3. We get a card of death. Each player who had a drink loses 1 action, so something in the drinks does not trigger. Instead, if there are no... Oh, this guy's dead. He's been dead for a bit. He got eaten by the spheres. If there are no unengaged criminal enemies in play, hunted down gains Surge. So yes, this gains Surge. And then we get place 1 Doom on each criminal enemy at your location. If no Doom was placed by this effect, lose 2 resources. So we're just going to lose 2 resources, and that was fine. All right, this conglomeration of spheres is here. And I think we're just not going to waste any time, and I'm going to move into here. And we got an art gallery, which has 1 clue and 2 resources. He'll make an attack of opportunity on us. I'll take 1 horror, putting me down to 5. And Dr. Francis Morgan's going to take another shot for me. So I have 4, 5, 6 with this overpower. 6 to 1. I like those odds. The game does too. I'll deal 1 damage to him. I'm just punching normally right now. Draw a card to replace that overpower. It's a machete. And then we're going to attack him 1 more time. Not going to use this other overpower and just do 4 to 1. Because, yeah, that's an evil fail of death, so that's how it is. I would rather have not had that happen. He's going to attack. I'm going to take 1 damage and 1 brain damage, putting me down to 4 and 6. But my plan is I'm going to attempt to kill him this turn. Gain a resource, putting us up to 5, and draw a card. We drew a Rite of Seeking. Doom is placed on over here. We're getting awfully close, but I do have an emergency escape button if we ever need it. Our card of death is a hunted down, but that's going to gain Surge. And then I'm going to just lose 2 resources because I have no criminal enemies in play, because I drew another Arousing Suspicions, which is A-OK IMO. Alright, so I think our plan is we're going to attempt to use this blinding light to escape. So it's going to be 4 to 4. I think I want to still risk it for the biscuit. Yeah, we're going to risk it for the biscuit. 4 to 4. Skull. I'm going to choose to treat that modifier as a 0, which will allow us to... I'm going to lose 1 action this turn. Ooh, that sucks. That sucks. Okay, well... I think that's actually fine. Action number 2 and my final action. I'm going to investigate here. 3 to 2. Use this Rite of Seeking to make it 4 to 2, and this Scrying to make it 5 to 2. And let's see what comes out. Cool. It's a +1. I may choose instead to treat it as a skull token. I'm not going to. And go like that to grab this clue. And those are my last actions. Draw a card, gain a resource. This guy readies and he comes to engage me. He will not attack this turn. I'll draw an emergency cash. This will go to 5. Card of Death is a Frozen in Fear. I think I'm going to spend 1 to do this Ward of Protection and take 1 horror instead. Okay. Okay. Everything's A-okay. Everything is A-okay. Alright, so now this is going to be a bit spooky, scary skeleton, but action number 1 is move to the art gallery. This guy makes an attack of opportunity. He's going to put 1 damage on me and one damage on Francis Morgan and 1 horror on me, putting me down now to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 2 sanity remaining. Action number 2, run to the back alley. He's going to make another attack against me, so it's going to deal 1 physical, 1 mental, so it puts me down to 5 and 1. And then my last action is going to be Resign, which does not trigger an attack of opportunity. So, muy bueno. Got out just in time. You escape the club doing your best to look inconspicuous as several cars pull up near the street. A handful of grim-faced men and women exit, running towards the restaurant's entrance to take control of the situation. One of them catches your eye, his hand on the grip of his .38, but thankfully he turns his attention back to the rest of his crew and follows them into the club. You breathe a sigh of relief. Resolution 2. When in the world, Dr. Morgan finally breaks out of his daze as you make your way to safety. You ask him what he remembers, and he sputters and shakes his head. It's all a haze, he explains, visibly exhausted. I was having the run of my life. Perhaps I had one too many shots, but those creatures, I haven't seen any like that since. He trails off, and you can tell that his mind is racing. His eyes widen with realization, and his face pales. I may not be in the best shape, but I'll help you with your investigation, whatever it takes. Yeah, we are going to add Dr. Francis Morgan to our deck. And victory display. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 VP in the victory display. All right, well, that one was incredibly close. It was looking very scary there, and one more turn, obviously, from this final Rhapsody would have been my doom. But this one is kind of hard because I'm building more of a Jim Culver who can investigate, and there wasn't too much investigation going on. What's this thing? And also add to the fact that, hey, get out of here, Cable. Also add to the fact that the conglomeration of spheres can really fuck up my battle plan, which is using melee weapons to just have consistent combat. However, we got 4 experience. We're going to be diving into extracurricular activity, and I feel like now the deck is going to start doing some cool stuff because we're going to start spending some XP. You'll find that in the extracurricular activity video, which is coming out right away. Should be in the next, I don't know, 3 to 4 days, depending on my release schedule. In the meantime, thanks for watching. If you like this kind of stuff, like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. I love it. And as always, GG's.